Joe O'Brien.
Oh, happy Independence Day, 2 days early. By the rocket's red glare. The bombs bursting in air. Welcome to Glass Cannon Radio, the world's most patriotic show, where today we're only going to talk American foreign policy in the Trump administration.
In celebration of the 4th of July.
Yeah.
We'll
just
talk
kidding.
foreign policy.
Just kidding. We're going to stay off that political stuff because I know you guys don't like it when we get political. Welcome to Glass Cannon Radio, the show where the Naish, and you are a member of the Naish if you are watching or listening to this, the Naish gets to chime in and tell us what they think of the topics at hand, where we talk about everything in the nerdosphere. And today, it's going to be a good one. Joe, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this,
I'm
jelly?
psyched, man. I'm psyched. Among the big holidays, you know, you got the Christmas, Thanksgiving, you know, New Year's for a lot of people. Man, right below those for me, 4th of July.
Really?
I'm a big 4th of July fan. I know it's hot and sweaty and gross, but I love the tradition of a day where it really feels, unlike some other holidays, of course, outside of Christmas and Thanksgiving, it feels like everybody is off on the 4th of July. Like everybody's always off and
A little off.
And you just always have that great, like, it's a barbecue vibe. It's like a barbecue essential, like you got to have a barbecue party. And I love barbecues. So yeah, 4th of July is a favorite of mine.
And how great to celebrate the country. And because all of us always agree with the direction the country's going in and the decisions it's made in the past.
Sure. You know what? You can skew negative all you want, but let's focus on the positive for a second. At least for me. I'll throw this out there for you. I've asked this before and on another show, and I'm just curious, you know, what your response is. Have you seriously considered, and I mean seriously, like actually, living forever in another country?
Oh, no way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
I'm
shut the fuck up and stop bitching about America.
You're allowed to have negative opinions on the country. In fact, you're more entitled to your negative opinions of the country if you've decided to never leave it.
Yeah, agreed.
You're more entitled to them.
Yeah, but we had this conversation before among somebody, I think it was on Get in the Trunk. And it was like, as much as we bitch and moan, we're like, yeah, but America's pretty sweet. Like to live in.
Yeah, I just feel like I wouldn't want to really go somewhere else. Not because I do think that there are other places that are better, you know, but I feel like you need to stick to your country. You know, you need to like through fair and foul.
Yeah,
you know, when you love it, when you hate it. You know,
it's a marriage. It's a marriage.
It's yours. It's a marriage. Exactly, for better or for worse. So
here
we are.
It's a big birthday too. I mean, we're coming up on a real big one. So this year, 249. Next year, 250 years.
Do we start?
It's a big one.
Is it 250 special? I feel like after 200, really, it's all butter after that.
I think 250 is pretty special. I'll tell you what, they're going to make a big deal out of it. I'll tell you that much. On every network, every parade, everything, they're going to make a real big deal out of 250.
Yeah. Trump's going to have a military parade. I hear they're going to celebrate it on his birthday. So that's it, 250. All right. Well, great. I mean, the founding fathers, fireworks. Yeah, I mean, barbecue's really the main reason I like it.
I mean, honestly, it's hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yeah,
it's like the main reason I really love 4th of July, because it's like, you're guaranteed to have a burger that day. And I love that.
Right.
I love that.
I mean, I'm guaranteed to have a burger most days, but I'm guaranteed to have 3 on the 4th of July. So there you go.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, when I used to drink, it used to be also, you know, day drinking. You know, you could you could put away a couple while the sun was still out. That was fun.
You know, the downside of 4th of July as a work holiday is that it doesn't really crush midweek, right? Thanksgiving is always awesome because it's always on Thursday, and you know a decent amount of jobs out there you're going to get off on Friday.
Right.
Christmas, you know, there's going to be some leeway there. You might get some extra days off because it's around Christmas. But when the 4th of July is on like a Wednesday, you got to go to work the next day, and you got to go to work the day before, and so you can't get after it as much. But you know, this year, awesome. 4th of July on a Friday. 4th of July you can have a hell of a throwdown party and then have off the next day.
When I was drinking, when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I was drinking, and I was single, and I was celebrating Halloween, I always thought it was insane that you didn't get the day after Halloween off.
Yes, I agree.
Let me tell you something. I was taking it off, or I was at least taking the first 3 hours of my job off.
100%.
So add more days off is my point. Also, we should all get election day off while we're on national things. Why don't we get election day off? It's insane. Some people can't get out of their work.
Yeah. Anyway,
we have a great show today, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things. First, we're going to start with 3 questions. Joe's going to ask me 3 questions, and we are going to discuss. We'd love to hear your opinions as well. Then, in honor of Independence Day and the country, we're going to talk about Captain America, the comic book character, and the film. So feel free to jump in and weigh in on that. Then after that, oh my God, Joe, in the honor of Independence, we're going to talk about indie RPGs.
Independent publishers.
Yes.
That are not kowtowing to the big corps.
Right.
That are making what they want to make in this beautiful free country we live in.
We're going to talk about what's great about them, maybe some drawbacks to them, your favorites. We're going to get into all of that. And then finally, I have a GM Fiat. I have a little editorial today on an RPG-related topic. But before we jump into our topics for today, Joe O'Brien, do we have a contest question today?
We do. We have a contest question today because we want to celebrate the 4th of July and get you guys something pretty sweet. And so in order to pick our prize winner, we're going to have a contest question today. What's that prize? I want to start with the prize first because it is dope this week. In celebration of indie RPGs, we are going to gift the best answer to our question today. Whoever has the best answer to the question today, we are going to gift the full-blown Roll Big or Go Home RPG Mega Bundle that Humble Bundle is offering right now. Now, this is a bundle of 57 items, I think nearly all of which are RPG core rulebooks, basically. All kinds of RPGs, from Transformers to Cyberpunk Red to Avatar Legends, Weird West, Deadlands stuff. Warhammer Fantasy, Dishonored role-playing.
Wow.
Dude, the Call of Cthulhu Keeper. So it's not all indie RPGs necessarily, but what a collection. And the best part about it is, as we gift that to you, also part of that gift goes to support Extra Life, which we love. You know, we're big fans of Extra Life
awesome.
here. So support charity, get a huge Humble Bundle out to a winner today. So that's going to be awesome. And in order to get that Humble Bundle, 57 games.
Wow.
In PDF form. You're going to have to come up with the best answer to today's question in honor.
Now remember, the best answer is something everybody knows but nobody thought of.
Yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and say it right now, Joe. It is not from a manga or anime, okay?
Just letting you know.
It's just not. There are too many of those, and only you and your friends have heard of the one you're talking about, all right?
And then I would say the alternate is, like, sometimes there's things that just everybody's heard of, and you're the first to say it. It's a great answer. So it's possible, but most likely you're going to win if we're blown away because we didn't think about your answer, but it's a great answer that we know. Anyway, in honor of Independence Day, in honor of America, today's question is going to be, give us the best fictional president. The best fictional U.S. president. Actually, I don't even think they have to be a U.S. president. I'm going to say that. A best fictional president. If you come up with an idea that is not a U.S. president, but is titled a president and is a great character, we would love to hear it from you. And the best answer today gets this amazing 57 book Humble Bundle. All right.
What's your fictional president, Joe?
My fictional president, I'm going to go with a really big one that my first thought, and I was like, this could win if somebody picked it for me. I'm just going to take Jed Bartlett off the board.
Jed Bartlett,
the West Wing.
already off the board.
Already off the board. I have to remove it so that it's not floating out there, because it would be very hard for me to vote against Jed Bartlett. I just love Jed Bartlett. It's a great president. Also, unfair amount of content that guy got to have compared to some great fictional U.S. presidents that just had a 2-hour movie. That was an epic series. So and don't put any presidents in chat. Try to avoid that, because it kind of ruins it for everybody. And when we see it, we basically will not give that one an award. So try to think about that as well. All right. Yeah. What's yours, Jared?
Mine is. I don't know if this is obscure or a big one. I think it's obscure. Sometimes my brain is too obscure. Prez Rickard. Do you know Prez Rickard, Joe?
No, Prez Rickard.
DC Comics in the 70s published a comic book called Prez about an 18-year-old president. That was the whole comic. Like, what if the president was 18 years old? And the name of the comic was Prez, and the character was Prez Rickard. And it was like, what if the flower power generation got control of the U.S. government? And I've always loved Prez. I recommend going and reading it. It's far out, baby.
It's far out, baby.
Answer.
All right, Jared, not taking a winning answer off the board. That's under the list of obscure, but very interesting.
Obscure. Okay, that's obscure.
Obscure, but interesting.
I can't tell. My compass is off. You know.
Okay, so how do you spell it? Is it Prez?
Prez. You got it.
And is it Rickard?
Yes, it is Rickard. Prez
awesome.
Rickard.
Prez Rickard, good to know. Anyway, all right, let's start it off today with 3 questions. 3 questions for you. Right. My first one is whatchamacallit, is Independence Day themed, is America themed, but then I'm going to move off of that quite quick. Here we go. Question number 1. What is the greatest American city?
Oh, the greatest American city. What a fantastic question, because they all, I think all of the big cities in America, I've been to, I think I've been to most of them.
I know, that's why I asked you. You've been to a lot.
Yeah,
You've been to a lot
I've
of
been to
cities.
most of them. So all of them have great things about them, but all of them have drawbacks too. But, okay, so I'm going to say, I have an answer really quickly. And
what's your first gut?
I'm going to say the drawback to this city is that it's become too expensive to live there, because it is such a sought-after city, because it is such an incredible city. And I'm going to say a place I've never lived, San Francisco, California, is the greatest American city. And if you go and walk its streets, and you go to Golden Gate Park, and you go up on the hills and look out over San Francisco Bay, and if you take a tour of Alcatraz, if you go to the comedy clubs there, you will see that San Francisco, California is it's at least the most beautiful city in the United States. And because of this, all of the richest people decided to set up business there, and now it's unaffordable to live there. But I think that's for a reason. I think that they chose that location for a reason. So San Francisco is my answer.
Great answer. I think, that I always tell people when they ask, what cities do you love to visit on tour? And I always say San Francisco is one of the tops in terms of sheer beauty. Just beautiful, like everywhere you look.
Incredible history,
Incredible history.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move into RPGs for a second. Let's take a dip into RPGs, and specifically, this could be Pathfinder, this could be D&D. You can kind of like take it how you want. I asked a similar question to this a month or 2 ago as we were sort of batting between caster types that you prefer.
Yeah.
Today, I want your take, and you can make this Pathfinder, you can make this D&D, or just in general, fighter or barbarian.
Oh, so you just picked my 2 favorite classes. I really love both of those classes.
You love both of those classes. So if you have to choose one to play, obviously there's a lot of factors that go into it, but what's better, fighter or barbarian?
Which one's better? Are you asking me which one is mechanically better? Because
Nope,
I
I'm
don't
just
really
saying
make
better.
distinctions
There's
like
no
that.
you make the distinctions.
Well, this is maybe personal, but one of my favorite characters of all time, and I have read almost all of the stories, is Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian. I've read the comics. I've read the short stories. I find barbarians to be personally more interesting than fighters because a barbarian is also good at killing things with a sharp object,
Mm-hmm.
but a barbarian, there's all kinds of like implied story behind it, cultural implications behind it. You are someone from the outlands, someone who's never been to civilization, you know? And so if you go to a city as a character, you're a fish out of water, you know? Yet when your party goes out to the dungeon way out in the wilderness, you're in your element, you know? This is your land. You have a connection to that land. So there's all of this stuff that connects you to the adventure, and it's just implied by your class. It tells story on its own. I prefer a barbarian who is closer to Conan, and by that I mean a lot of the 5e barbarians, once you get your subclass, there's a lot of ghosts and energies blasting off of
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
I don't really want my barbarian like wreathed in magic. You know, I want my barbarian to be someone. I like rage. Rage is fantastic. I'm a big fan, but I don't want magic to happen from the barbarian. I want the barbarian just to be wades in and starts killing right away.
I'd love to hear some takes on this from callers today. I'm curious. I lean fighter, and you've made a very convincing argument that I might switch the other way. But one of the reasons I lean that way is because I also don't like what I feel is so dominant in 2E, in Pathfinder 2E, is the wreathed in magic of rageness and of barbarians in general. I do feel like that's a thing. Perhaps I haven't played a barbarian in 2E, admittedly. So I could be wrong here. And obviously, I don't want to say obviously. I think it's quite possible to build a very, very strong barbarian with no magical stuff. But I don't know. Maybe there isn't, because I feel like so many of the rage powers revolve around generating some sort of magical force or energy through your rage, or pulling from some sort of magical force or energy to generate your power.
Yeah.
And that's not my favorite take on barbarian. So
if I played one of those, I would want to play it very subtly. Like I will say, like 5e has like a barbarian where your ancestors come and help you, you know, like your ancestor spirits. I forget what the name of that subclass is, but I would hopefully be able to play it in some way where my barbarian is just imagining his ancestors, and it would make my barbarian a little delusional. I think that's fine. I would be into that.
Yeah.
But I don't want actual ghosts blasting out of me and attacking people. That to me is that's not a barbarian to me.
Okay. Great answer. Final question. We're going to go random here. Random out of the box, out of nowhere.
Out of the box.
This question just occurred to me,
Out of
and
nowhere.
I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you generally enjoy Quentin Tarantino films?
Not only do I enjoy Quentin Tarantino films, but I listen to Quentin Tarantino's Video Archives podcast, and I have probably looked up every Quentin Tarantino interview on YouTube and watched that as well.
Great. That's not the question. That's the setup for part two, which is, this could have gone one in two ways, but the second part is, what is Quentin Tarantino's best film?
Okay. I've also read Quentin Tarantino's books, just throwing that out there.
Wow.
Too.
Okay. I did not know that you were such a big Tarantino guy. This is great to know.
I think he is a absurd and sometimes comical figure, but I think he is also self-aware and knows that, and he's very funny. Speaking as a comedian, funny as a talking, but also he makes his films very funny. What is his best film? What a fantastic question. I really like all of them. Really, every single one I do enjoy. Some people would say it's his last film. I think you could make a very good argument for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And certainly a lot of my friends who also like Tarantino would say that one. But I got to go back to what I think is an early hit, the one that really put him on the map, Pulp Fiction. I think Pulp Fiction is perfect from start to finish. I love it. So I'm going to go Pulp Fiction.
Okay. That's fascinating to me. Fascinating. Because when I thought about this question, my first thought was, and I am not a Tarantino-ophile, and like I have not even seen all of his movies. And I thought about it, but I dig his style. And I thought about it and I was like, I think that my favorite Tarantino movie might be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Let me tell
you.
And
I was like, but it might be, is it recency bias? You know, because it's new and I just saw it. When I say just saw it, obviously it's been years, but like, and then I came back and I like reassessed and I was like, I have to give it to Pulp Fiction because of how groundbreaking it was to me as a viewer and how it's still today, what a perfectly perfect film it is.
Yeah. I mean,
anyway, I went through the exact same thought process.
What a compliment to him that you could pick an early film, one of his first or his last one, you know?
How rare in any medium, in any art medium. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could pick his last one or an early one. You know, I think there are some that would lose if you were saying what's the best. You know, I think few people would pick Hateful Eight as the best, and yet I really, really love Hateful Eight. You know,
and that's one I have not seen. I did not see.
Oh, really?
Hateful Eight.
And you like westerns, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, it's long. You know, that's the only thing.
I don't mind long. I don't mind if it's good. I don't mind long.
That's why people might not give it the number one spot, but I really, and it's a winter western. The snow's coming down. Oh, Kurt Russell, forget about it.
We'll come back one day. We'll come back one day. And as I thought of this question, I was like, we're going to have to come back and do a whole Tarantino thing on the show. We'll do
Great
that
idea.
At some point. But yeah. Whatchamacallit, Rima in Discord chat says, tons of people say Inglourious Bastards is his best.
I think that you could make a great argument for Inglourious Bastards. Absolutely.
And then he says, they're wrong. It's Pulp Fiction. So it really is like how impressive of a resume to have that it could go that deep. And then the other one I thought this exact thing, Drogonoth in Discord chat says, honorable mention to Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs is incredible.
That was another one that when I saw it, I mean, I think I saw it probably with McD, like the first time that I saw it, and I was just like, what is this? Like, how is this even, how does this even exist?
Joe,
like,
you want to know something hilarious? In college, I was in a play of Reservoir Dogs. My buddy Nick, who I still play games with over Zoom and stuff like that, Nick Dobbins, who lives in Nashville, Tennessee, he adapted, it was him and my friend Phil, adapted Reservoir Dogs to a play. And people even had like blood packs that would keep like bleeding during the play and everything. I was Chris Penn's role. You know, Chris Penn.
Yeah.
That was my.
Chris Penn doesn't go out, right? He's like he's an inside guy.
He's the big boss's son.
Yeah,
right?
He's the big boss's son.
Yeah, that's who I played.
Did you ever see? Speaking of Chris Penn and what's his face? Come on. Who's Mr. God damn it. Mr. Pink? Yeah.
Mr. Pink is Buscemi.
No, not Mr. Pink then. The British actor, the guy who gets shot.
Timothy Roth.
Tim Roth. Did you ever see Chris Penn and Tim Roth in Deceiver? Did you ever see this movie?
No.
McD! Get on the mic. Deceiver. What a film. Who else? Who's the girl? It's
never heard of it.
A young
it's
she's like famous.
Very famous.
I can't remember. But anyway, it's a
Renee
terrific,
Zellweger, right?
Yeah, it's Renee Zellweger. It's a young Renee Zellweger with Chris Penn, Tim Roth, and you recognize the other guy too. I can't remember his name.
Michael
yes. Michael
Rooker.
Michael Rooker.
Oh, he's awesome.
I know. So, dude, that's the movie. It's like
Rosanna Arquette's in it too.
That's right, Rosanna Arquette.
I'm writing it down right now.
She's Michael Rooker's wife.
Yeah, you got to watch this movie.
I'm
It's
writing
so
it down
good.
in
It's
my.
how I learned
have
about absinthe.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a list called Media Lists Want to Watch or Read. And is this a neo-noir film? What category should I put it in my notes?
It's neo-noir, for sure.
It's a neo-noir. How could I guess? With that cast, what else could it be? Deceiver, putting it right down here. Oh, God, this particular list is getting long now.
Yeah, McDermott, I don't think I've watched it in 20 years, at least 30 years. And so I wondered if it holds up, but man, we loved it in high school.
We used to rent that a lot. Remember there were the $2 movie nights, $2 Tuesdays
Yes.
at the video store? And
it was like
Deceiver,
LA Video or something.
Yeah, LA Video. We used to, Deceiver got rented.
$2 Tuesdays.
Now you guys are dating yourselves.
For sure.
Yeah, because you actually went to video stores.
All right, let's take a call before we move into Captain America here.
Yeah,
because a lot of people are raising their hand.
Yeah.
And before you come in,
anything you have on the 3 questions, let us know.
Anything you got on the 3 questions? What is there a better city than San Francisco? I doubt anybody has an opinion on that. What about Fighter versus Barbarian or Tarantino's best film? Before we do though, McD, take an answer off the board for best fictional president.
Okay. Well, before Jared's caveat, I was going to do the obvious, and that's Kenneth Jukichi Yamaoka from Eagle, the making of an Asian American president, the long-running manga. But Jared said no, so obviously, I mean, it was like so front door. I get why you did that, yeah, for sure. But
trying to get creative answers,
right? No. Yeah,
the making of an Asian American president.
Eagle, yes, correct. I mean, obviously. But I'm gonna go with Dave. From the movie Dave.
Great answer. Now there is a little caveat there, which is right. He's not the president. It's interesting.
Yeah, I still think that he also plays the president,
Yes.
Kevin Kline.
He does. He does. But I don't mean President Mitchell. I mean Dave.
You mean Dave? Dave is arguably the best president, fictional president ever. He is.
Dave acts as the president.
Yeah.
He gets to enact things as the president, so he's a president.
That's true.
If you haven't seen Dave and Deceiver, get on that, Naish.
Yeah, get on the D's.
What a double feature.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect double feature.
Dave, I saw Dave, I want to say like a year or two ago. It holds up. Sigourney Weaver's wonderful. Man, it's so good.
Ving Rhames is fantastic.
That's right. Ving Rhames. He's awesome.
Cool.
What a great movie. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's take a call here.
Get a caller.
Yeah, people got things they want to say. Frank wants to say something. Named simply Frank. Frank.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, we got you,
sure
Frank.
can.
Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. Long time listener, very long time listener, first time caller from Houston, Texas.
Awesome. Good to have you. Good to have you.
Get on down here because I'm tired of driving all the way up to Dallas.
Is Houston better than San Francisco?
Well, that is a very weird answer to. Because honestly, I don't think I've ever heard of Houston having an app where you can find where all people have pooped in the streets. So maybe.
So
San Francisco
maybe?
has an app where you can do that?
Yeah, there's an app where you can spot a poop on the street and you can see how many people have pooped on that street. It's very weird. It's like a Yelp for poop.
And that's San Francisco has that, you're saying?
Yes, I think so.
Yet another convenience of San Francisco. Yet another way that it is a superior city.
A superior city.
Find out where the best places to poop on the street are.
Frank, what did you want to call for? Sorry, I jumped you there with the question. What do you want? What do you want to talk about?
No, that's okay. Probably one of my favorite fictional presidents. And with the holiday coming up, I think it's very appropriate to do Bill Pullman in Independence Day.
Absolutely. Great answer. Do you remember the character's name?
Yeah, President Thorne Whitmore. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah.
It sounds made up.
Yes.
Thorne? His name is Thorne?
No, Jay Whitmore. Jay Whitmore.
Okay.
Jay Whitmore.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, great. That's a great answer, man. And you got anything else, or can we let you go?
No, that was it. I just want to say, love the channel. Been listening since episode 3 of the original campaign. So just love you guys, and would love to see you down in Houston sometime.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
See
I'd
ya,
love to go
Frank.
down to Houston. I've got some friends in Houston. I like Houston. Some really
Come
good friends
see
in
us in
Houston.
San Francisco, Frank.
All right. Let's get Cody in here. Cody, what's going on? Is this Cody from Vegas, Cody? Trying to look at your picture there. Cody. Oh, yeah, that's
It's Cody from Vegas. Cody.
Yeah, what's up, Cody?
What's
Good to
up,
see you again.
Cody?
What's up? I will
What's
say,
going on?
for the city, it's going to be Vegas.
Okay.
I've been there
Vegas. You think
5
Vegas
times
is the
now.
greatest city in the United States?
Yes.
Cody
Just
loves
US in a
call
bottle.
girls. Cody loves paying for sex.
Right. Right.
Cocaine and call girls, Cody.
Yep. That's what the C's are for.
Yeah, there is I came across an old Norm Macdonald on like Conan back in the day. I think it was Conan. It was definitely a late night show back in the day where he talks about, he's like, have you ever heard that saying, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? He's like, I didn't know what that meant, but now I know. Now I know what it means. What does it mean, Norm? He's like, it means that you can have sex with a prostitute and she won't tell your wife. Just in his very like dry Norm Macdonald fashion. It cracked me up. It was so good.
Well, we wish you luck with your gambling addiction, Cody. We know it destroys families. It destroys lives. So
good luck with that.
Good luck.
Oh,
with
yeah,
that.
I know. Yeah.
Give us a great fictional president.
It's definitely going to be, I actually was going to do Thomas Whitburn, but I will go with my alternate, Morgan Freeman from Deep Impact.
All right.
trying to
But do
remember-
you know the character's name?
Yes, President Beck.
President Beck from Deep Impact. Wow,
Yeah.
you know what? I think we've now taken off the board the fictional presidents that I could name. And by the way, I definitely
Yeah,
would have said Morgan
exactly.
Freeman from Deep Impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because he's
thanks.
Morgan
Yeah.
Freeman. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the
Yeah.
call, Cody. It is. I am not going to nail people down on character names here, but if you have a second to IMDb it and look it up, please do because it's fun that way. But I will not hold you to it because I also don't know all these people's names.
Of course.
Even if you don't know the actor's name, I don't mind. If you're like the president from and you know the film or a TV show, then that's fine as well. All right, let's take one more, and then we're going to keep moving the show along. Rima had a good comment earlier about Tarantino. Rima, what's going on, buddy?
Hey. So,
How are you, Rima?
all right, it's too hot.
Yeah.
The best city, obviously, is Boston.
Boston?
Boston.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Fuck you, Jared.
No. Give me the argument for Boston.
The best. Hub of the universe.
Hub of the universe.
No. I said an argument, not a nickname that only you use.
Oh my God. Jem with two
Second
N's is
argument,
on board with
Jen.
this, not surprisingly. Chile
Let me
in
tell you
Discord
something.
chat says
Let me tell you
the
something.
Sorry, go ahead.
I lived in West Virginia. I lived in Tennessee. I knew a lot of rednecks and hillbillies. And they got nothing on the people of Boston. They got nothing on the people of Massachusetts. The
What can you
rowdiest
say?
bunch of piss-kicking brutes I've ever met.
Oh, that is so
when would
funny.
you need to go to Dunkin' Donuts and cross the street and go to another Dunkin' Donuts?
Go to Dunkin'. Yeah. That's your argument.
Donkeys.
That's your argument that there are a lot of Dunkin' Donuts.
Sure.
Rima, you got anything on the old fictional president there?
I did, and McD stole it. Dave is the best answer.
Yeah, Dave is the best answer. I'm glad he took
I'm
it
going
because,
with-
man, I'd be hard-pressed to vote for something else.
Going with the president Dennis Haysbert played in 24. David.
Oh,
Bowie.
yeah.
The
Great
yeah,
one.
Great one.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
a
just
good
'cause
one.
Haysbert's a great actor.
He is a
Yes,
great
he
actor.
is.
And
Yeah.
Thanks, Remake. Thanks for calling. And what a good show. When that first came out, that was a show I was like, this is so cool. There's that
Yeah.
first season. I remember being like, this is so much fun.
Have you ever watched an entire season in 24 hours?
No.
That's the only way to watch the show, bro.
It's the only way to watch it.
Only way to watch the show.
All right, we're going to keep taking calls on this, guys. Lots to talk about. Your favorite city, your fighter or barbarian, your Tarantino. But in the meantime, let's honor America's birthday by talking a little bit about one of the greatest, most iconic, most recognizable superheroes in all of the superhero verse, Captain America.
Captain America.
Cap!
So I have been a Captain America fan for a long time. He's probably my second favorite Marvel superhero after the Hulk. And Captain America, he's pretty interesting just as a phenomenon, because the age of superhero comics really began in 1938 with Superman, Action Comics #1, but only 2 years later, before Marvel Comics was a thing, we have the debut of Captain America. And he was one of the first things created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. The King Kirby, the guy who designed basically the visuals of all of the Marvel characters who are making billions of dollars today. So this is a very early creation of Kirby and Joe Simon. And it was part of Timely Comics, and the story goes that when Joe Simon, who was kind of the writer on the project, was trying to come up with a character, he said, well, the most important thing for a character is the villain, right? A great superhero needs a great villain. And then he thought, well, who's the best villain I can possibly think of? And instead of coming up with a costume supervillain, he was like, oh, I know, Adolf Hitler. So the first issue of Captain America Comics has on the cover Captain America socking Hitler in the jaw as hard as he possibly can.
So good.
And that is an image, I think, that stays with you and that we should all remember. And it's one of the things that's great about comics is that kind of imagery, right?
Yeah.
It is a power fantasy, but it's the best kind of power fantasy. People always say comic books are male power fantasies, but I think we can all get behind the male power fantasy of punching Hitler very hard in the face.
Right in the face. And also important to point out for those that are not history buffs, that
Hitler was bad.
No, that at that time, America was not in war,
Yes.
at war with Adolf Hitler.
Right, yeah.
Hitler was starting all this shit over in Europe and had been at it for basically a couple years, if not at least one full year of war in Europe.
Yeah.
And America was staying out of it because they were like, we don't want to get a bunch of Americans killed in this thing. But there was a political movement that, there was an interventionist movement that was like, we need to help these people or else Hitler's going to get out of hand and get too much power, etc. Winston Churchill at this time is begging FDR to get in the war. All this stuff is happening. And so Joe Simon creates a character where he's like sending a message through comics. Like, we want to go over and punch that motherfucker in the face.
Yes.
So anyway, it was a cool time, in history too for that. It wasn't just a response to what America was already doing. It was a suggestion for what should be done.
Right. So the character was a huge hit for them. They made a lot of money on this character. Joe Simon and Jack Kirby didn't make a lot of money on this character, but Timely Comics made a tremendous amount of money on this character, and the character kept going strong until it was canceled. So it started in 1940, and it was canceled in 1950. And the idea was that Captain America started losing a little steam once the war was over as a character, right? And in fact, toward the end of his run in like the late 40s, of 1950, he started having horror adventures because horror comics were becoming popular. So there were like issues where Captain America fought Satan and stuff like that. And barring a couple like tiny little resurgences in the 50s, I think there was just one in 1953, The next person to bring him into the comics in a real way was Stan Lee in 1964. He brought back Captain America. He came up with the entire Cap has been frozen in the ice, you know.
Genius.
Yes. And he immediately made him the leader of the Avengers. The Avengers get him out of the ice, and Captain America becomes the leader of the Avengers. And this is part of that Silver Age, that 1960s comic book thing where they were going back to the golden age and revitalizing characters. DC Comics was famous for this. You know, they took the golden age Flash, they made a new version of Flash, the kind we know with the full red suit. You know, they took the golden age Green Lantern and they brought him back. They made him more of a space hero because space was very 1960s. Well, Stan Lee did that with Captain America. And Stan Lee also had the great idea, you know, because he's been unfrozen, because he's been out of the loop for so long, he gave Captain America that man out of time sort of theme.
Yeah, and this is my favorite part about this time is that when you bring Captain America back, it's not just a narrative Deus Ex Machina to get him into the Avengers, you know, or whatever. It becomes, he had a war to fight. That was the central purpose of his character, and once that war was over, it kind of the purpose, the motivation of the character dwindles, and its popularity dwindles. This invigorates a whole new layer to the character, that man out of time thing that he struggles with as a character. That I never read those comics from the 60s, but I loved that aspect of that character in the films that I saw, in the MCU films that I saw, and I thought that and I didn't know until, you know, doing some research for this, that storyline was first brought in the 60s and really elevated Captain America to another new level of interest for audiences.
Can I tell you some of the things I really love about the character? And by the way, I have read those 60s stories because I used to have those big black and white essentials volumes you could buy. They were like $13 and you had like, you know, 100 comics in one like big stack. So Captain America, the things I love about Captain America. First of all, let's talk superpowers. I love that Captain America has the super soldier serum in his veins, which basically doesn't make him superpowered. It just makes him like the perfect, like as far as a human could possibly go.
Yeah.
In terms of strength, endurance, speed, reaction time. The super soldier serum doesn't make him super powerful. It makes him like peak human. And I think that's a really good power set. And how that manifests in the comics is Captain America is always doing all these flips and jumps, and you know, they would always draw him like doing a barrel roll over everybody's heads and things like that. That's cool. The shield is awesome, and the shield is because the Captain America had a shield that was pointy in the 1940s comics. He had like a more of a classic pointy shield, but there was another patriotic comic book character called the Shield who had a pointy shield like that on his chest, and they threatened to sue Timely, and so they changed the shield to a round one. And I think all that shield throwing stuff is fucking so cool. It looks great on a comic book page. It's the kind of thing that just looks fantastic, you know, illustrated, you know, because Marvel Comics were famous for action, all that kinetic, more so than DC. Marvel Comics had so much, because Jack Kirby was really telling the story. Stan would give a outline, and then Jack Kirby would turn it into action scenes. So things like all of Captain America's jumping around, all that shield throwing, are perfect for Kirby to just draw fight scenes, draw action scenes. So finally, the other thing I like about Captain America is that it's a very kind of espionage comic, right? It's not really about like wild super science like the Fantastic Four. It's not about magic or mythology like Thor. It's about espionage. It's about spies. It's about saboteurs. And all of Captain America's villains, they're also not like super powerful. They're just like shitty people with guns, you know?
Yes.
Captain America has to take on Crossbones or Batroc the Leaper, you know? These people who are just like mercenaries for hire who are working for the Red Skull or Hydra and Baron Strucker. So you're dealing with a lot of like fifth column ideas, like these sort of anti-American revolutionary groups inside the U.S. planning these horrible, coups and things like that. And all of that leads to Captain America. The other thing I really love about him is he's always running from the U.S. government. He's always fighting the U.S. government.
Yes.
Because by the time we got into the late 60s, people were like, America does a lot of horrible stuff. And the comic book writers of Captain America, of course, they were on that same wavelength. And Cap is always running from S.H.I.E.L.D. He's always fighting his own people because he's always the victim of some sort of conspiracy or something, all the way up to Civil War and things like that. So those are the things I love about the character that I think makes him an all-time greatest comic book character. And for me, definitely in the top 5 superheroes ever. And we haven't even talked about the movies yet, which are some of the best of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, I agree. I'll hop in there to just say, and thank you for that. That was awesome historical review of Captain America. And I learned a lot more about him through my exposure to Captain America was just the video games, basically, like the arcade game, the Avengers arcade game and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that game.
Yeah, such a great game. I played it with McD all the time. And the throwing the shield thing I always thought was weird. Like, he was never my favorite. I always liked Iron Man a lot more because Iron Man, shot beams out of his hands and could fly and stuff like that. And I always thought that was so cool. Well, then the films come out and I watched the first Avenger and oh my God, I just loved it so much. I mean, aside from the weird CGI stuff in the beginning, which was a little weird, but like I never knew the Captain America origin story until I saw the film. Like, I didn't realize it's like he's just a kid from Brooklyn, tries to sign up, can't cut it physically. He's got these deficiencies, so he becomes but he's got the heart. It's such an easy, great story to suck in a dummy like me. I love that stuff. And it was just really, really well told. And that was just the tip of the iceberg, because to me, they only got better. The Winter Soldier, I hold out as the best movie in all of the MCU films. I think that, I really love Infinity War. I love Infinity War. But I feel like it's so big that it's like, it's kind of on a different level. Among all the other ones that were leading up to Infinity War, Winter Soldier is the best, in my opinion.
And it's telling, Joe, that the directors of the Winter Soldier are the ones that were tapped to direct Infinity
War. Yeah.
And Endgame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those were the strongest films, was Captain America, Winter Soldier, Captain America, Civil War, which is really a all of Marvel movie, but it's officially a Captain America movie.
It's just very cool in Winter Soldier to have him, like, to have that concept, because you talked earlier about how Captain America is, somebody mentioned it in Discord chat too, like, part of the character, it seems, over years of print is that he seems to be a little ahead of American policy and politics in a way. And America would tend to follow kind of Captain America because he would be the voice of these writers and people that were thinking these things. And then some of these things would come to pass. And it was just very interesting in Winter Soldier because it's always a product of its time. And at that time, my memory of it is such a major issue is the issues of privacy and social media and cameras everywhere all the time, and everybody tapped into everything everybody else does. And that moral quandary of, should we have a switch where we could watch anybody at any time, and if they're having any bad thoughts, just kill them? It's a scary concept, and it's a really big one to bring up philosophically. And I love that those are the kind of challenges that Captain America has to tackle. And he's on the side of the people that are doing this stuff, and that he always, like you said, he always ends up on the run from the people he's working for. He always has to stand up for what's right, despite the fact that all of his bosses and America in general is being run by the people that are making these choices.
Even though Robert Redford is a bad guy.
Even though how could Robert Redford be a bad guy?
Yeah.
So great. And then Civil War is one of my, I mean, to me, that was the height before Infinity War of bringing all those heroes together. I remember just watching that airport scene with just my jaw dropped. Like, not only how great the action was, but how funny it was, how great the characters were, how much you knew so much about each individual character that was fighting in that scene. And
that's another Cap versus his country situation.
Yeah.
Because in the comic book miniseries Civil War as well, I thought that was such a cool decision to make Iron Man the person that goes along with what the government
with the
wants,
authority,
and Captain America the one who goes rogue. He always goes rogue.
Yeah.
But another thing about him, I just want to point out, and I don't know that this speaks on behalf of the character, Captain America, like Superman, is just always the best guy. He never has doubt, really. He doesn't really, he's not an anti-hero. He never makes some sort of edge case decisions. He's always the truest, bluest, nicest dude you've ever met. And I like that in a comic book or in like a kind of a heroic fantasy. I really like that idea. So I'm a fan of that kind of character. Although I would say, like in Captain America First Avenger, your protagonist doesn't change or learn anything. He's just the best guy all the way through.
Right. Yeah. And you get much more you just get so much more in the Winter Soldier with your ability to make the character make hard, deep choices.
Right.
This is his friend. His friend is the villain.
Right.
They have history, but his friend doesn't remember. It's so cool.
And the Winter Soldier is an anti-hero. You know, the Winter Soldier is a former Soviet assassin, trying to make good. And then Sebastian Stan is just one of the greatest actors. So
fantastic.
That's also a great character. And that character, so for decades and decades, Bucky, Captain America's sidekick, had been killed, and it was sort of fodder for the Captain America character. He would remember that his sidekick in World War II had been murdered, and it was a lot of pathos for Captain America. And nobody thought you could ever bring Bucky back.
He's one of the two, the famous two, right?
He's one of the famous two.
The only two people that can never be brought back are Uncle Ben and Bucky.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, they brought back Bucky.
But they brought back Bucky.
Ed Brubaker. And if you're going to read one Captain America run, that is the one that I would point to, is Ed Brubaker. I think he had an 8-year run on Captain America, mostly drawn by Steve Epting. But it is awesome. It has the whole Winter Soldier saga of discovering the existence of the Winter Soldier and saving him from being a bad guy, and then it has the assassination of Captain America saga. And this is when I lived in New York City around 2008 that I got into this Brubaker Captain America run, and I was buying like $40 worth of comic books a week. And not making that much money, but I was spending that much on comic books.
Wow.
And I never missed an issue of the Brubaker Captain America. It was that good.
That's awesome. All right, let's take some calls. Let's see, weigh in on Captain America if you want, or the other topics. We got lots to talk about out there. It's up to you guys what you want to discuss. Anirbus Rec. If you're there, if you'd like to hop on, join us. Can you hear me? Hey, what's going on?
Hello? Hey.
Hi.
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're fantastic.
Really
Thanks
good.
for calling.
Thank you. Happy 4th to you guys. And I don't have anything on the topics. I just wanted to get a president in.
Hell yeah.
Which honestly, I thought was a tough question. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't think of a one. And then somebody mentioned that Independence film, and I immediately thought of Mars Attacks. I think everybody needs to see the movie Mars Attacks.
Oh, here
Jack
we
Nicholson
go.
plays
Oh,
the
no.
crazy president. James, hold on, I did look it up. James, oh no.
Oh no, Jen with two
James
N's.
Dale, President James Dale, played by Jack Nicholson. I think everything about that movie was great. And
now,
obviously,
Nervous,
Jack
you
Nicholson
know
was great.
that Mars Attacks is the movie that convinced Jen with two N's that she didn't like science fiction.
Did you know this?
What? No.
So Jen
No.
with two N's, longtime friend of the show and frequent Glass Cannon Radio listener and caller, is to this day, and she's an adult woman,
Yeah.
Terrified of Mars Attacks. She
Yep.
can't
Oh my
watch
gosh.
it. She says it's too scary.
I mean,
We may have to pick
maybe
this-
I can understand, but this was, I believe everybody should see it. It's just, you just laugh. Everything about it is the comedy. I don't know, amazing film that I always forget about. And so thank you to whoever shouted out Independence Film, because I think it's a spoof, maybe? I don't know. That was my first thought. And yeah.
Awesome.
Jack
Awesome.
Nicholson.
Yes.
Great answer. And thanks for
Thank you,
calling in.
Anubis.
Please call again.
We might have to pick President James Dale from Mars Attacks just to make a point to Jen with two ends.
We might have to. Squid is here. Hey, Squid. What's up, dude?
What's up, Squid?
What do you got? What do you got for us today? Are you there? Can you hear us? No?
Squid, come on,
Here.
man. You've been here before. There
You're
you
a
are.
pro. There he is.
Sorry, guys. I was eating my pad CU.
So it's all good. What do you got for us today?
So my first thought when Joe posed the president question was President Dwayne Camacho, because I was thinking of American presidents.
Yes.
Hang on. Hold on. We've got
That's a great answer.
Oh, we lost him.
Well, put that answer down for him because
Yeah.
I love that answer. President Camacho from Idiocracy is a great answer.
I don't know that one.
Oh, you've never seen Idiocracy?
No, what's Idiocracy?
Add it to Joe's list of movies.
Joe's
Is anybody
media
out there keeping this list for Joe? Because at this point, Joe has 148 hours of films. How have you not seen Idiocracy by Mike Judge? Starring Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph.
Oh, I love all those people. Okay.
Anyway, when you see President Camacho, you'll see what a great answer he is.
Okay, fantastic. President Dwayne Camacho. I don't know if Squid was setting up another answer, but let me be very, very clear on something. You can't say two answers.
Yeah, guys,
You can't
stop doing that.
I was gonna say X.
Yeah,
but
don't do
I'll
that.
go with Y.
That's Squid. You should know better.
Well, no, he didn't actually do it. It seemed like he was
about
though.
to do it. He was about to do it. You know, at first I was going to say this answer, taking it off the board, but instead I'll say this answer. Why do you keep doing that?
Don't take an answer off the board for anybody. Aaron the Shark
People
wants
keep
to
doing
speak. Aaron the Shark. What do you got for us? Hey,
Can you hear me?
what's going on, Aaron?
Yeah, coming to you straight out of the greatest city.
Oh,
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, baby.
America,
Go
USA.
Birds, dude.
All right? Go Birds.
Philadelphia is the greatest city.
Well, you know, I'm faking the funk a little bit because I've only lived here for 3 years, but I'm having a good time.
Only after the Phillies win and the cars catch fire is it the greatest
That's right.
city.
That's right. Keeps you warm. Yeah, in October. or not October. What was it? What am I saying? But
Thank
anyways,
thank you for coming on the show and saying
definitely got the
Philadelphia.
greatest
Somebody had
sandwich
to,
in
especially after
Yeah,
Boston
yeah.
was mentioned. Come on, get Philly in the mix
Yeah,
at least.
I know. But there were so many Boston mentions in the chat.
Yeah, a lot of Boston fans at Glass Cannon Radio. I gotta admit, there's a lot of our
Boston.
Our demo is very Boston.
I will say Boston is a great comedy city because they're all animals. So they get drunk and then they show up. And if you get the 8 o'clock show is great. And then the 11 o'clock show is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Do you got something for a fictional president?
Yeah, I do. I was gonna do Jack Dale. That is my number one, but you know,
That was taken.
took.
So you need to answer a different one.
Yeah. So old school from Dr. Strangelove. Peter Sellers as President Merkin Muffley. Probably
Great
my
answer.
favorite name of a president.
That is a
Merkin
great. I wouldn't have
Muffley.
known the name, but it is so him on the phone going, but Dimitri.
Yes.
Dimitri.
yes.
Will you
yes.
listen for a second, Dimitri?
Yeah. Now is not
funny.
the time to be losing your head.
Yeah.
Totally.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for calling it. Good one. Let's keep it moving. Mr. E Knight, what do you got for us? Good to have you back, by the way. Mr. E Knight. Or you could just not answer. and lose your chance to get on the show.
Also eating Pad CU right now. I imagine that Skid
Sorry.
spilled his Pad CU. Oh, hello.
Okay,
There he is.
I have a great answer. I think you guys are going to recognize this name right off the rip. President Jack Ryan.
Oh,
There it
yeah.
is.
Clear
Yes.
present danger.
Good answer.
Played by 5 Hollywood stars: Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, Chris Pine, John Krasinski.
You
Legendary president.
You missed one, right?
Who's that?
Did you say Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, he did.
He did.
yeah.
That was the first one he said.
First
Okay.
up.
Yeah, awesome answer. That one is so hard. Another Jed Bartlett level in that it's almost unfair because he has so much non-presidential content. You know?
Yeah. But he does become the president.
Are you hearing a beep?
Nope.
Oh, that's me.
What the hell happened to Joe? Joe's having some kind of beep situation.
It might be like a tornado siren or something. I'm in Oklahoma.
What the? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How cool will it be
It
if
is.
a tornado,
It's a tornado
takes off the
siren.
roof while you're... Uh-oh. Do you want to Google, is a tornado headed toward me?
Oh, shit. Well, if the window starts shaking, I'm going to run out of this room. All right.
Okay,
so,
that's fair. Hey, do you have anything on Captain America, on Quentin Tarantino, on anything else we talked about? Or is everybody just going to call in for the contest question
That's
today?
fine. Hey, call in for whatever you want to call in for. I think that the contest question
No,
creates a lot
I
of
want to
interesting
talk about other
conversation.
things.
Old man Tizzle. What do you have an answer for Jared? You got something you want to talk about besides a fictional president?
I've got a fictional president for you, but I do have something to talk about other than that. So I want to go to
Great.
Captain
Yeah, hit
America.
me with the other thing, and then we'll get your fictional president.
He wants to talk Captain America.
Oh, great.
Yep. So Captain America, he was kind of lower totem on my poll for the Marvel Universe. I've always been an X-Man fan. Problem
Yeah, I
I have
love
with
them
Captain
too.
America is that it was this idea that a weak, puny kind of kid wasn't good enough, and therefore the military had to make him that perfect soldier, and then they create him and kind of gave that idea that like you can't really be successful unless you are perfection. So I've always preferred X-Men because they were always the lovable losers that never fit in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Captain America evolved and changed and started to do that. My question for you guys is, how do you feel about the way Captain America's evolved, especially in the MCU universe, and how like after Captain America's death, how they're trying to rebuild it?
Yeah. Well, I love the Falcon as Captain America. I think that's a really cool idea to pass it on. I haven't seen the new film yet. Did you see it?
I have not seen the new film. Have you, old man?
I have not either.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I take that back. I did. It was okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I heard. So I didn't rush to go see it because I heard it's okay. I loved Anthony Mackie's portrayal of the Falcon character. I really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I did watch that
so did I.
series. I really liked that. And that had a lot of build into, oh my God. This is making me think of how much I enjoyed that. I'm going to forget the name of it. What's it called? The newest MCU movie.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolts. How much you're introduced to Russell's Captain America. I can't remember the character's real name, but the new Captain America as like a total douche in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah. U.S. Agent. Yeah,
Yeah,
or
US
that's his
Agent.
comic book name. Yeah.
Yeah, U.S. Agent you're introduced to in that television series. I love what they did with that character because, like, he's interesting. He's not that, like, he's awful, but he's also not like a comical villain. Like, he's like,
Right.
He seems to be like a regular guy. He just has, he's just not a perfect guy.
He wants to do good things. You
Right,
know, he wants to be Captain America, but you know what? Not everybody can be Captain America.
Exactly. He's not
Yeah.
like this, purely corrupt, evil bastard. Like he wants to be Captain America, but like you said perfectly, not everybody can be Captain America.
Yeah.
I-
What a great character, and what a character people have slept on, and it's so cool that they brought him into the MCU.
Yeah.
And I would love to see more of that character and more of that actor Wyatt Russell is amazing. So
he was so good, and in my opinion, he was, I mean, basically stole the show of the Thunderbolts. He is so good.
I've yet
in
to
that
see
movie.
Thunderbolts. I need to see that.
He's so good, and the only reason I hesitate on saying he stole the show is because David Harbour basically stole the show. Like the two of them were so good, and they're not really the focus, but the two of them were so good. So I love that part of Captain America in the MCU, where you have U.S. agent versus, you know, the Falcon portrayal. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I really love the idea of Falcon taking up the shield. I think it's a great idea. Also found out in this little history reading that the Falcon came out in the 60s, right? In those 60s comics, they introduced the Falcon as the sidekick, you know, as a friend and ally of Captain America. So yeah, I generally enjoy what they're doing with it. I hope that's it was long worded, but I hope that was some answer, Tizzle, to your question.
And I'll just throw out again, if you like comics, there is a new Captain America #1 coming out today, a brand new #1. And it's written by Chip Zdarsky, who did an incredible Daredevil run not too long ago. And apparently the first storyline is Captain America versus Doctor Doom. So that should be pretty fun, and I intend to check that
out. Tizzle, you got a fictional president for us?
I do. My offering to you guys is Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Slayer. Not only do you get to save the United States and hold the Union together, but you get to kill some vampires in the same time.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Tizzle. That's great. Marco, what do you got for us? You want to talk a little Cap? You want to talk a little Tarantino? Little Barbarian? Man, I try to kill time with how long it takes people to get up here sometimes. Marco.
Hi. Sorry, I'm crashing the American Independence Party. Scotland.
You son of a bitch! Now get in here. It's a barbecue.
Hang up. No Brits on this one. No Ireland.
Hey, Scotland.
Oh my God! Forgive me.
Hey, if I grilled you up a burger, would you eat it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, then you're welcome. You're welcome to come to the old 4th of July celebration.
Excellent.
What do you got for us, Marco?
I was wanting just to pitch in on the president. I think Jared said that we were allowed to do non-American presidents as well.
I said that. I said that. Yep. If it's someone we know, this would be interesting. Let's see. Who is it?
Well, it's fictional. President Laura Roslin from Battlestar Galactica.
You know, that is a terrific answer, and it was the one I thought of when I said they don't necessarily have to be a U.S. president. That is what I had in mind, because what a great presidential character. Thank you, Marco, for the call, and happy 4th to you there in Scotland. That's a great answer. Love President Laura Roslin from Battlestar. So many great qualities of a president. You know, didn't want the job. That's like one of the main things, right? You find with great presidents is people that didn't really want that. Dave's a great president because he wasn't trying to be president, right?
Yeah, and Joe Biden's a great president because he didn't know he was president.
Logan! Nailed it. Well done.
Sir, you're president. I am?
I am? Miss Crits, what do you got? Let's get in here on the conversation.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great.
Hey, what's up?
Good. So I can't believe nobody's talking about barbarians.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
by all means.
So, on top of all the great points Jerry made about barbarians, I can't believe you didn't mention just how fun it is to role play a barbarian.
Yeah.
I am Grognar the Barbarian, and I hit things.
Yeah.
I think it's very fun to lean into that low intelligence character and kind of just run with it, right? You kind of find you always get into really fun situations.
Low intelligence, high
energy,
high emotion.
Yeah,
right? Like emotion driven, rage driven characters. It is interesting. I don't know. I feel like I don't think I've ever played a barbarian on the network. Can anybody remind me I can't remember.
I have.
If I
Xantar,
played
King of the
King of the
Zoogs, baby.
Zoogs.
yeah,
Right.
King of the Zoogs was a barbarian.
But let me tell
and
you,
you got like Casino on Legacy.
Yeah, Casino
Quadrager,
Primavera,
great
fantastic
barbarian,
character.
right?
Yeah, and that's one that leans in a little
Olog.
bit. What's that?
Olog. From
Olog, baby.
Olog,
great characters.
fantastic character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of great.
yeah, felled by a bad salad.
We always say that whatchamacallit, that the that our pre Glass Cannon games that existed before we started playing, one of all of our favorite characters was Skid's Barbarian in our long running campaign that we played right before we started recording the Glass Cannon podcast. He had an awesome barbarian character who was like basically the main character of the story. I've never read any Conan or seen any of the movies. I don't know anything about Conan.
Joe,
in fact, I call him Conan.
Point,
I don't call him
start
Conan.
to get pissed off at you at a certain point. Okay, you haven't read the stories. That's most people. It's pretty deep nerddom level to have read the Robert E. Howard stories. But to not have seen Conan the Barbarian starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'll watch it. I promise. I'm putting it on my list.
Speaking of things for you to watch, Joe, you might remember in Milwaukee, I told you need to watch the show From for your Delta Green.
Is this the foreign show?
No, not foreign.
Oh, no. I think I asked you this in the thing. There's some one-word show that's like German or something that was a dark horror on like Netflix or something years ago. I'm going back like 5 or 6 years. I can't remember.
It's good?
It's
Dark.
amazing.
Dark.
It is
Thank
probably the best visual Lovecraftian media you can consume.
What's it on?
MGM Plus. So
okay,
pretty
get
slept
the
on.
hell out of here.
Pretty slept on.
MGM Plus.
You're out of
What the
here.
hell are you talking about? Oh, it's on Crackle. What do you mean MGM Plus? Nobody has that.
We paid. Me and my wife paid for the subscription for this show, and it was so worth it.
I was thinking of the show Dark. Yes, and
Yes.
McD mentioned it in chat, as did a bunch of other people. Miss Chris, give us a great fictional president, and we're going to keep it moving here.
All right, my fictional president is President Kirkland, played by Kiefer Sutherland on Designated Survivor.
Oh, cool.
There you go. Good one. Yes, Designated
cool
Survivor.
one.
That's a great answer. Good one.
Yeah.
I really liked that one. That was like, didn't that open with like in the shelter, like underneath the White House or something? I feel like, I don't know if I'm placing this memory from somewhere else, but like how it first begins, the whole Designated Survivor thing. It was really interesting. All right, we'll come back to more callers here in a second, but let's talk on Independence Day. Let's talk about independent RPGs for a second here. Indie RPGs, what we would call, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of define this. We're going to, I think, define it as RPGs that are published by publishers, distributed by companies that are of a smaller size than
Small press.
Wizards, Paizo, Chaosium, Free League, Modifius. Like those ones, we're saying we're going to kind of call those non-independent publishers, those a little bit more well-staffed, I think. But slightly smaller companies that have put out, there's so many RPGs out there. And the question is, do you like playing indie RPGs? Do you like trying indie RPGs, Jared? I'll just throw the question to you first. Versus, do you have time to play them versus playing a Pathfinder or a D&D, which, obviously dominates a huge amount of the market. Does it dominate a huge amount of your time?
So here's what I think is funny. When I first started on the Glass Cannon Network, I was doing Haunted City. And I think that is an indie RPG. Blades in the Dark is an indie RPG. And because of that, I would read in the socials, people would be like, he really likes story games. He's really into indie RPGs. Nothing could be further from the truth, actually. I have always been, I want a big, hardback, thick book with lots of rules in it. That's always been my jam. And so indie RPGs are actually, even today, I'll be honest, they can be a hard sell for me. And it's not fair because there are many indie RPGs that are excellent and many indie RPGs that are a way better play experience night to night than your experience playing maybe Pathfinder, maybe Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. There are indie RPGs that you're going to have more fun playing. But for whatever reason, the little kind of collectory aesthetic part of my brain usually wants a bigger production game book that you can do more with. I think indie RPGs often have a very specific focus, and corporate RPGs are more like, you can do this kind of campaign or this kind of campaign. They're like a little bit more of a large toolbox. So the first time I read Blades in the Dark, I don't know if I've ever said this on stream before. Now, I now think it's one of the greatest RPGs written ever. I think it's one of the greatest RPGs ever created, Blades in the Dark. But when I first read it, I didn't get it and I didn't like it. I was like, wait, that the players can just deny any consequences that I give them? That's insane. I don't like that. Now I see the genius of it, but generally my horrible bias, my prejudice is generally against indie RPGs, and that's a flaw of mine. It truly is a flaw, but I have to admit it.
I think that there's something to be said. Obviously, there's positives and negatives to both, but there's a huge positive that you kind of hinted at there. And you and I have discussed this before. There is a huge positive in the RPG landscape to having tools at your disposal outside of the book, the initial book that you purchase to play a game. Mm-hmm. A game that benefits from excellent character sheets, maps, minis, initiative trackers, tools, and such like that are freely available online, through these, major companies to support, dice that do, that are unique to that game, is a real positive, in my opinion, for playing mass market RPGs. Not to mention the fact that it is much easier. There's a reality, and I saw somebody mention in Discord chat that solo indie RPGs are pretty cool. And let me jump onto that and just say that, like, one of the struggles I face with indie RPGs is that RPGs in general are a team effort. You need a group usually to come together and give a lot of time to do something. And we're not just talking, look, a lot of indie RPGs can be played in a session. Fiasco comes to mind as a great indie RPG, right?
Yeah.
And that's designed to be kind of played in a session. But you're still talking about getting 4 other people together, probably, right? 3 to 5 people together in the same place or online for hours, right? They got to give up these hours to do this. And everybody knows D&D. Lots of people know Pathfinder. And if they're going to play role-playing games, and that's what they've been raised on, and that's what they know how to play, when they can chip away a little time from their busy lives to play, usually that's what they're going to want to do. And it's hard to get other people as excited as you are about an indie pamphlet that you read, that you picked up at Indie Press Revolution at Gen Con, right? Like, it's difficult. That's why I think the solo RPG in the indie landscape is super interesting, because you don't need anybody else to try it. You can totally try it, jump in. So yeah, I would say in general, I am such a game fan. I'm a gameaholic in terms of systems. I love finding new ways to make dice rolling and some sort of narrative economy gamified so that it feels like you are role-playing, so that role-playing in the sense that, like, it feels like it is capturing the setting it means to capture in a way that makes you feel like you're really doing this, or really playing a character that's doing this. So I love reading these indie RPGs, but the reality is I have a hard time playing them because I can't get people to do it. You know what I mean? Because they're used to what they know. They're used to the big market games, and that's what makes it a little bit tougher. But I'm curious. Sorry.
Well, let's just talk about some of the advantages, though, because we've kind of outlined, why they're a tough sell. like you said, a lot of them are built to be played in one session. So you really only have to get people together for it one time to kind of, do it. A lot of them have, I would say, they're more elegant in their design. There's not 7 different rule systems in one game. There's like, and they are the vision of one creator. One person who has gotten to make all the decisions and sort of make this perfect little, pleasing kind of package that really works. And there are things that have won awards deservedly so that I think are so amazing, like Dogs in the Vineyard. Have you ever heard of Dogs in the Vineyard, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dogs
I never
in the
played
Vineyard.
it, but I've heard of it.
My Life with Master. I played a game called The Quiet Year. Have you heard of The Quiet Year?
Sounds familiar.
It's just it's you and the fellow players are running a community in like a fantasy world, and it's a map drawing game. So you put down a big piece of paper, and then each time it's your turn, you draw something onto the map. That's awesome. This is the caves outside of town. This is the windmill where we grind our millet or whatever. And it all ends up interacting with a series of events that occur that can destroy your town. And it's all about, do we survive after we've prepared during this quiet year? So I played a game called Microscope. See, this is the kind of, that what I just described, A Quiet Year, is a completely different type of RPG. You don't have a character, you don't have a character sheet, and you're not using dice. And I think it's good for people to have different kinds of experiences and try different kinds of things. I played one called Microscope. Instead of making a community, you make a timeline, and you create a history for a fictional world. And each time it's your turn, you can say this event happened or this event happened along this timeline. And then you role play out scenes that happened during those different events. Are you leveling up? No. Are there any weapons? No. It's like kind of a group fiction writing exercise.
Yeah.
So it's a very different experience than you're going to get with Dungeons and Dragons. But I do think if you are someone who's into role-playing games, you're really selling yourself short if you never try some of these things out. Because there's so much. It would be like if someone told me they only watch MCU movies.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what about all the movies that are out there? There's so many incredible movies and you only watch MCU movies. That's what it's like if you're someone who's like, I only play Pathfinder.
Yeah, you said it, and it's important to reiterate. If you can find the time to get people together to try out these indie RPGs, if your favorite game is Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, dipping out and trying some of these indie RPGs is absolutely going to make you and every one of your friends better at playing D&D and Pathfinder.
Absolutely.
It elevates your consciousness of what you are doing together when you play those games, and it just elevates the experience of those other games. It's really wonderful, and the way that you described how focused it is. Think about how D&D and Pathfinder and Call of Cthulhu come from so much, and this has a negative connotation. There's a lot of positives to it, but a negative connotation, so much baggage.
Yeah.
So many years of weight of product, of business, but then also creative weight.
Yeah.
What was liked, what wasn't liked, what needs to be changed, what edition are you on?
Or how massive their universes are. Their universes are so massive and so intricate and so gigantic. And that can be a plus, but it can also be a minus because sometimes it's hard to figure out how to focus your game into one story. That's something Paizo does well with the adventure paths. They're like, we're not using all the monsters. We're not using all the countries. We're not using all of the magic. We're using these things to give you a horror, experience or a prehistoric experience
right.
like Blood of the Wild.
Or a like pirate adventure, right? Like
Right.
you can narrow it and focus it in, and Paizo does a terrific job of that.
They do, but indie RPGs do an even better job because there are indie RPGs like the guy that did Fiasco did one called Night Witches, where you just play female Soviet fighter pilots during World War II.
So awesome.
There really was a squadron of female fighter pilots called the Night Witches, and that's all the game is about. So you get a very specific, very streamlined, no fat experience, and I think that's invaluable. I think that's incredible. And like you said, it makes you a better player of those corporate games.
I got one I want to try that I have not tried. Have you tried? Oh God, how was the exact name? It's I think the name of the game is Coyote and Crow. Have you heard of this one?
I think I've heard of it. Is that the one that's written and created by indigenous people?
Yeah, it is a sort of sci-fi-esque RPG set in an Earth future where there was never any Western colonization.
Oh,
right?
cool.
And so all of the this is my this is my brief understanding by the blog line, is that you have, those indigenous populations were never colonized and were able to grow to, through their own civilizations. And then we take that into sci-fi sort of era. And it's supposed to be freaking fantastic. And
sounds fantastic.
I'd love to check that out. That sounds super, super cool. But yeah, I mean, that to me is like, epitome of kind of indie RPG experience that is different than anything else you've tried before. I don't know what the system is, if it's like a die pool system or not. I can't remember, but
you should check it out.
That's one I'd be interested to check out. And yeah, like you said, those focused experiences are really interesting. What are your guys' thoughts on indie RPGs? Do you like trying them? Yeah, let's see. Grey Wolf, what do you got for us? Grey Wolf 85. You don't have to talk indie RPGs. There's a lot of topics floating around in today's show. Yeah. Whatever you'd like.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you both?
Good.
So indie RPGs, yeah, actually there's one that I played very recently. I believe it was called The Mask or The Masks, and essentially it's Masks, A New Generation. And
I played Masks.
Oh, you have? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, it was awesome. We actually played it. I played it with my friends that I went to go see the Portland show this year after the show. And it was my first time playing it. And I've played Pathfinder a couple times. But this was the most role-playing I'd ever done. And like actually getting into a character and, taking on a role. And we had an absolute blast. It was some of the most fun I've ever had just playing a game, whether that be an RPG, a board game, or a video game. And it's something I probably never would have tried if, my friend did not convince me. He had run it a couple times, and like, it's so easy. It's super light. Like, we got into it in under an hour, and then we had so much fun. We played until like 2 a.m. that night. He had come up with a character. So the guy who GM'd it, the friend who GM'd had a character who was a kid in this high school, had superpowers, and his name was the Grappler, and he just loved grappling things. So he would like open up his locker, and there was like pictures of grappling hooks, and he had little mini grappling hooks like in his like jacket. And that was one of those belly laughs that I can count on one hand how many times in my life I've had.
That's great. That's great.
Masks is a powered by the Apocalypse game, and Blades and those Forged in the Dark games share DNA with that, Joe. So the superhero types that you can pick from are all playbooks with like a lot of their special abilities and stuff already mapped out for you. So like our caller says, you can get into it quickly. Whereas most superhero role-playing games, character creation is like fucking 3-day process
Yeah.
because you have to litigate how all the different powers work. But masks,
It's fun if you want to go down that road and you want to like
Yeah.
really make your unique superhero. Like it's fun, but it is not something you just throw together in a night. It really,
Right.
yeah. But
and Masks isn't just about superheroes. Talk about a specific experience. It's about teenage superheroes. That's what it's about. So
cool. Grey Wolf, give us a great fictional president.
Yeah, I have to pick President Harris from Scary Movie 3, played by Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
Amazing.
His portrayal of, I think it's supposed to be a parody of Bush, but it was so funny. I remember seeing that as a kid, and we were laughing our asses off just watching him do like that, pretend to do like the whole alien weird walk thing and stuff like that. It was just, it was great. Loved it.
Thanks, Grey Wolf. Great call, and thanks for the Masks shout out. That's awesome. Let's get. I had somebody lined up here. Where are you? Let's get All Hail Lord Bezos. You've been waiting for a while. Thank you for your patience, Lord Bezos. What do you got for us?
Oh, well, I think specifically the indie RPG for me that I would recommend would be Mothership, which they just released within, I think, the past year, the full first edition, but it is, I think, one of the best written indie RPGs I've seen in a long time, and just the game master advice. And there is perfect, the setting is great, and there is such a great community currently that is just making these little pretty much brochure pamphlets for quick 2 to 4 hour adventures, and it is extremely easy for any players to just jump into.
It's arguably Bezos top of my list. The game I have not played yet that I want to play the most is probably Mothership. I was looking at Mothership during the height of COVID when we were doing New Game Who Dis. I almost ran Mothership, and I don't know why I pivoted. I think I was like, I don't know how to make this into a full 3 episodes. Like I don't know how to do. Like it seemed like it would go so fast. Now I know better. I could absolutely make it in 3 episodes. But
we played some on Stream of Blood, but I don't think I did it justice. I would love to try again with Mothership. I think it's so amazing. It really is beautiful.
Yeah, it's supposed to be great.
There's a quick adventure that lasts 2 to 4 hours called it's pretty much it's Goblin with a Knife. The creator of Mothership described that how combat should be just chaotic, like a goblin running around with a knife. And it is the funniest adventure that I think I have run. Just like a goblin who somehow got into a spaceship, has a knife, just runs around, pops out of the air vents, and just starts stabbing people. It is chaos. And my players who primarily play 5th edition were able to just kind of like jump in, pick it up, and get the vibe really quickly. Also, it was the first time I think they really experienced how quickly a character can die, and I think that's something every player should experience.
Yes,
yeah,
I agree.
That is important. All right, all hail Lord Bezos. Give us a great fictional president.
Oh man, so many of mine were taken, so I have settled now on President Selena Meyer.
Yep, that's great. Yeah,
is that Veep?
Yeah, in Veep, she becomes
Veep.
the president.
Great answer. That's one I didn't think of.
She becomes the president for like a couple months, right?
Near the very end, and there's some very great payoffs. I think it is a very great representation of what our presidency can look like in real life too.
Yeah. I agree with you. That is a great answer. Also wanted to shout out Pins and Needles in Discord chat that posted Hieronymus, the Garden of Earthly Delights edition, which Mary Lou ran in Vegas, and she was raving about that game. And then her players, and Pins and Needles was one of them, was raving about it and said, Pins and Needles says they are now an aggressive evangelist of this game. It's supposed to be great. Hieronymus, the Garden of Earthly Delights edition. Very cool. And then McD posted in chat, Orbital by Jack Harrison, a game of precarious spaces and interstellar war. It's called
I don't know that
Orbital.
one. That's cool.
McD says he's wanted to play that for a long time. So yeah, that sounds That sounds interesting. Night Station, why don't you join us here and let us know what you're thinking?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
We got you. What's going on, Night?
Awesome. Yeah, I think one of the things that I love about indie RPGs more than anything is just collecting them. So I think that like having they're some of the most beautifully designed books that you can get. I just love having on my shelf and seeing how creative people can be when they make them. So I think I love that.
Yeah, that's the other beauty. You can say this about independent anything, really, in terms of media and art and stuff like that, but especially, I feel like for us, for RPGs. I think we're all well aware that RPGs, in and of themselves, are very niche. Among all entertainment out there, it's a very niche market. And these creators, I mean, the love and dedication and passion that they're pouring into these projects, they have nothing to do with bottom lines. They just can't. You know that any indie RPG you get that makes you feel something, that makes you have a great night with your buddies, is whoever wrote that and made it didn't do it for the money. They did it because they know that they're trying to transfer to you an experience that they envision. And that's one of the things that's just so cool.
How cool does Mork Borg look? Just as a thing to own and have on your shelf and pull out and page through occasionally, that's the kind of thing where I would argue, grab it even if you don't think you're going to play it.
Oh, God, it's so ballsy. I mean, Mork Borg says it like in the book, unless I'm mistaken. It's been a long time since I read it, but it says like you play this, you play it once, and then it's like, and then destroy this book. Like burn this book. It has such a cool vibe. Night Station, give us a great fictional president.
All right, I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb here, and I am gonna go with the band, the Presidents of the United States of America.
Are they fictional?
I mean, they are not real presidents. They are musicians.
They are, in a way, fictional presidents.
Hey, good answer. It's a diminishing field. There aren't a lot of answers left, maybe. So good answer.
That is a fun answer. I also like, there's what does everybody know that nobody thought of? Then there's the other one, which is like just the backdoor angle, right? Like the angle you didn't think of that fits in the legal rules.
The backdoor angle is hard to pull off, everyone.
Yes, it is.
I feel like a lot of people attempt the backdoor angle and they don't got it.
Dragonoth, join us. Oh, you're muted. Your mic is muted. Also, your picture is freaking me out, man. Is that Abigail Wright? Is your picture?
Indeed, Abigail Wright from Impossible Landscapes.
That's eerie, man. Welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I wanted to quickly mention, just going back to Captain America, if anybody's interested in getting into Marvel Comics, one of the latest sort of short runs was a series called Avengers Twilight that was all about a huge amount of the Avengers being dead and Steve Rogers having to kind of reassemble them. And it's really great. Anyhow, on the topic of indie RPGs, I wanted to quickly shout out from Effect Publishing a game called Tales of the Old West that was recently just closed the Kickstarter. Really awesome game. I've only read it. I haven't gotten a chance to play it, but the book is really awesome. It runs off of the Year Zero engine and very similar to the Alien RPG for people who are fans of that.
I like the Year Zero engine.
Very good. I feel like a lot of the Western kind of themed games that I've seen always have some kind of like, oh, it's Western fantasy, or it's, a Western set in space, or it's Western meets Cthulhu, or like whatever. But this game is just straight up like what it's like to be a person on the frontier of, like 1870s America. It's really, really cool. And the system.
Dude, that sounds really great to me.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Like I don't need the weird part of the Weird West in order to thoroughly enjoy a Western RPG, that's awesome. All right, Dragonoth, we're running out of time. Give us a great fictional president.
Let me go with Harrison Ford's character in Air Force One.
Yeah,
Fuck, I wish I
there it is. I was waiting for that one.
That's a big one. That's a
I don't
big
remember his
answer. I'm
actual
surprised.
name. Bill
Yeah.
Bill Pullman from Independence Day was my original answer, and then after that, I was like, well, there's got to be one more, right? And, yeah.
I'm surprised he lasted that long. That is great, and thank you for the answer. I'm going to get that name. While I look up that name, Jared.
Yes.
There's a GM Fiat on our schedule
Yes.
today. Is there something that's bothering you about RPG gaming experience?
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So let me set the scene. I always need to set the scene.
Please
GM
do.
Fiat. All right. So you're playing a one-shot, or you're playing the first session of a new campaign, and after the GM kind of sets some things up, there's always that moment when he turns to the players and he asks them to describe their character, right? So when he does that, there's always one player who does the following. Okay, Joe, actually, let's go ahead and, Joe, would you play the GM and just say, just ask me to describe my character?
Yeah. And then the tavern door swings open, and maybe the din of the conversation kind of dies down a little bit, and a new character walks in. Jared, what do we see?
Okay. Mirko Araka is of strong Shoanti stock, but was actually raised in Opara. So although he has deeply tanned, almost ruddy complexion, he's wearing the latest fashions from Taldor, including a waistcoat, a white linen shirt with neck stock, silk knee breeches, stockings, and black leather buckled shoes. He's wearing a bicorn hat, not a tricorn hat, because the bicorn is sort of an unofficial trademark of his noble house, House Corsina, who are known as explorers and sailors. And of course, when I say his noble house, I mean the noble house he's been adopted into, being of Shoanti blood. On his belt, he wears an Aldori dueling sword. He learned swordmanship under the tutelage of the sword lord Tealara, which is reflected in his free archetype of Aldori swordsman. He also has a brace of star knives and over his shoulder a simple rucksack. Did I say simple? Because the rucksack has actually been emblazoned with the symbol of his adopted house, a stylized compass. I won't go into what's in the rucksack because I don't want to take up too much time from the other players. So instead, I'll just move on to Mirko's hair and tattoos. His hair is black with wisps of silver tied back into a simple ponytail. Despite his fashionable dress, he prefers function over style. You wouldn't be able to see his tattoos, but I'll describe them anyway. One is a wolf, a totem of his Shoanti lineage, which he has yet to fully explore, but hopefully will during this campaign. Hint, hint, GM. And the other is a full back tattoo of the Tarask that attacked Opara in 632 AR. That one is due to a bet he lost while gambling in the naval yards of Casimir. Let's see what else. Oh, eye color is dark gray, and he's got a small pet that I'm hoping to upgrade to an animal companion if the GM lets me take the animal trainer as my second dedication. Hint, hint, GM. The pet is a Mellivora with black fur and a white stripe. It's a type of mustelid that you might know by another name, the honey badger. Her name is Bella Marius, and yes, that is a reference to a rune lord. And she considers you with tired, worldly eyes as she clutches my shoulder with remarkably long forelimb claws. When someone finishes a character description like that, as the GM, I always want to reply, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" In that moment, it's kind of impossible for the GM to interrupt because it's kind of the first time the GM has given the player the floor. So shutting them down is just a super bad move for a GM. But you know what's even crueler? Making us all listen to a multi-paragraph character description, okay? I know it's your big moment and you're excited about your character, but let's keep descriptions to one sentence. Yes, one.
Yeah.
Use one sentence to describe your character, not fucking two, definitely not three. You can do it in one fucking sentence. That character description I just did should have been like, he's Shawanti, but he's wearing fashionable Tal'Doran clothes, and he's got a unique kind of dueling blade at his hip. That's it. That's all you need, okay?
Right.
Please,
Let the mystery
God.
unfold, yeah.
Yes, please stop there. That's exactly what I was about to say, Joe. You can show off your other details as you play. Don't blow your wad all in one moment. Give your character a little mystery. Give us some foreplay. Hint at things with a detail here or there. Maybe you don't even talk about your weapons until you draw them for a fight, all right? Taking 5 minutes to describe your character is obnoxious because you're using up the game's most valuable resource, time. And by the way, I don't care about your character because he hasn't fucking done anything yet. So I'm not going to remember any of this shit anyway. Thank you. This has been part 5 of my series on learning to take social cues.
That's good, dude. That's good. Keep it to one sentence. The question I asked, it was very clear. What did we see?
Yeah, what do we see?
That's the question. Just say what we see. Let the other things unfold.
And I know it's hard because suddenly the camera's on you. Everybody turns to you. And, when I play, I've been playing a long time. When someone goes, okay, tell us about your character, and then everybody suddenly turns to me and it's the first time I've really talked, I start sweating. I do. But you have to, fucking keep control and just tell us what we barely need to know to get started.
I am so far on the other side of that spectrum of what you just displayed there that it's problematic. I'm problematic on the other side.
You don't tell enough.
First of all, I do my build. I love the build. And as part of it, I'll come up with a concept or an idea or a hook. I don't do much backstory anymore because I'm like, what's the point? None of it matters anyway. The GM's not going to change anything for me. And backstory is great to develop by what is happening in the present. So as things happen in the present, it's great to be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to say that he was once a prisoner of these guys in the blah, blah, blah. And that gives me an extra thing to work with here, whatever. So I like to keep those kind of things open.
Well, that's a really good player, Joe. That's just being an excellent player. Why not keep those things open? Like, really, you can show up to the game without a backstory. I think some people think it's expected.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have to write a backstory. But I think that's actually a beginner move. Like, I think the pro move is you show up without a backstory, and then as it unfolds, you go, oh, I think my guy used to know this person. Or, oh, I think I used to be a prisoner of these guys. Yeah.
So the negative part of what I'm getting to is that that's what I show up to the table with, a complete character sheet. I know what I want to play. I know what my role is going to be. I'm excited about the aspects of tactics that are going to be involved. And then it comes to me. What did we see when they walk in the door? I haven't thought for a second about what they're wearing or what they look like really at all. And a lot of times I end up fumbling over that and being like, they're dressed in all black with a hood and they're glowering. You know, and it's lame. So I want to find a middle ground there where I do have a well-constructed single sentence to describe what they look like. I
think it's great to start out with one interesting detail, and then
something
and then
that brings up.
Oh, they're an orc. They're an orc, but one interesting detail.
One interesting detail. What that does is it gives the GM, for the purposes of NPCs, and the players at the table that might have characters in the tavern, something to ask about. Just give them something to ask about.
What if I told you, and this would be a specific build, but what if I built an orc wizard and I said, oh, the guy that comes through the door is an orc, but he's skinny and he doesn't seem that muscular. The end. Guess what? That gives people a ton of stuff to think about.
Yeah, and to work with.
What does that mean? Who is this? Why isn't he like what I usually think of as an orc? There's so many things off of and that was less than a sentence.
Yep. Well done. Well put. Another great GM Fiat, but we got to wrap things up here with our listener award. So I'm going to get a couple more in here really quick. I'm going to call you to the stage. You got to answer fast.
You gotta be ready.
And then and all we have time for is your fictional president. I'm sorry, that's all we have time for.
You gotta be ready.
Headhunter, what do you got for us for a great fictional president? There's still a lot out there.
All right, I got one. Zaphod Beeblebrox from
Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Great answer. A latecomer with a great answer. That's awesome. Thank you, Headhunter. W Story, what do you got for great fictional
Stanley
president?
Motts.
Who's that?
He is from Wag the Dog. Dustin
Wag the Dog.
Wag the
yeah.
Dog. Okay.
I haven't seen that one in a long time, but great one. Thank you for bringing that one up. It's been a while, been a minute. All right, let's keep it going. You guys are doing great. Philonis, get in on this contest, quick.
Can you guys hear me?
We got you.
So it's a little bit of a crossover with the Captain American president. I don't think I heard him. Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Ross.
Oh,
Thaddeus
yeah.
Ross.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the new Captain America movie.
Good.
Yes.
I didn't see it, but it reverberates into the Thunderbolts. And so yes, I'm sorry, is it Thaddeus Ross?
Ross.
Roth?
Yeah.
Ross. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right, let's keep it going here. Ad Astra, get in on the contest. Harrison Ford's got a couple in here.
It's Patrick and Austin. I'm going to throw out there President Scroob from Spaceballs.
President Scroob from Spaceballs. Awesome. President Scroob from Spaceballs. Fantastic. And we got time for one more. President Scroob. I'm trying to write these all down. And Lord, do I not know how to spell them. All right, final one. We're just going to do a rando here. What do we got? Let's do Judge Husky. Sorry to those we didn't get to today. Appreciate you guys so much for hanging out on Discord.
Thank you, guys.
Judge Husky. Oh, no, Judge Husky's not answering. Judge Husky, you're going to lose your opportunity. Maybe somebody else is going to get an opportunity. Oh, boy. Mindrip. Mindrip, are you there?
Nope.
Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Judge. God damn it. All right, quickly. Give it to me.
Sorry. I was going to do President Lindbergh from The Fifth Element.
Oh, I liked that.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
I didn't think about that one.
Yeah.
Is it Limburg? Limburg. I don't know how to.
I don't know.
But I know. Yeah, but I know the character.
All right, I think it's time.
It is time.
It is time.
Oh wait, I already asked up Mindrips. Let me just get Mindrips' answer. Go, Min.
Okay. Andre Curtis, the president from Rick and Morty.
There you go. There you go. Little Rick and Morty, John. Okay, the president from Rick and Morty. All right, I'm going to put these answers in chat. We'll give them a look-see. And let's see. Let's see what we get.
All right, here we go.
Look over the list there, Jared. Look over the list there, McDizzle.
Oh,
That's
my
a
God.
heck of a list.
That's a hell of a list. That's a hell of a list.
Typically, what you and I have done is we've picked 3, and then we share our 3 with each other. If any of them if only one of them crosses over, that's the winner. If multiple cross over, we go to McD and see what we got.
Okay, I got my 1, 2, 3.
You got your 1, 2, 3, do you?
I got my 1, 2, 3.
Okay. I've got my 1, 2, 3. All right. I'll go first. I'm going to say my 1, 2, 3 in no particular order are. Sorry, I just lost sight of it. Are President James Marshall? That's Harrison Ford in Air Force One.
Okay.
President James Marshall, President Laura Roslin, and President Jack Ryan. Clear and present danger, among others.
We have an overlap.
Okay. Who are your 3?
My number 1 was President Laura Roslin. Number 2 was President Selena Meyer. And finally, President Muffley from Dr. Strangelove.
You know what? I am going to revise because under pressure, I said Jack Ryan and I meant Selena Meyer. I saw that and I said it, but then I couldn't find it. I was like, wait, was it Jack Ryan? So we actually have two. We do have two that overlap here. If we put up Selena Meyer against President Roslin, can you and I come to a decision here? Which one?
I can come to a decision, and it's based on technicalities. But President Roslin is arguably more of a president than Selena Meyer, who's only a president for a couple of months at the end of the series.
Yes.
So I have to go President Roslin.
This is unbelievable, but I think we're going to give it to President Roslin.
Not a U.S. president.
Not only not a U.S. president, the answer was given by a Scotsman. By a Scot.
Oh, my God.
I'm pretty sure Marco is from Scotland.
That's insane.
Isn't even American. Marco says, yes, well, I win.
That's the kind of year America is having.
Our best and brightest are not Americans, as it turns out. Guys, great answers. Like so many good ones. It was really tough to decide for sure, but I gotta... At the end, it comes down to Roslin versus freaking Selena Meyer. That is such a great anscer and so
great
funny.
answer.
Like to me, that's one no one would think of, but everybody knows.
But everybody knows. Yeah, that was a great answer.
But I think that Laura Roslin makes a really good example of also answering like a great fictional president.
Absolutely.
She's a great fictional president. So congratulations, Marco. We're going to get you that amazing Humble Bundle.
Thanks, Marco.
And we really appreciate you guys. That is going to wrap it up for today,
That's the
guys.
show. Thank you,
show.
guys.
Hell of a show, guys. It was an awesome one. So much fun. And, we appreciate you as always. Next week, we've got some... Oh, next week, we're going to talk about Andor, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Andor, the end of the series next week. So if you have not finished season 2 of Andor, you've got 7 days. Get on it. Wrap up Andor and join us for the conversation. I think we're also, with Superman coming out, going to take a look at some James Gunn films next week. And talk a little James Gunn along with our Andor discussion. So finish up Andor and come and join us for it. It's going to be spoiler heavy. So watch your Andor. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.